Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down.
Welcome to Let's Talk with Carl Lee and frequent guest hosts Hollis Lewis and Lisa Otey, where sports, culture, and community intersect. Join the crew as they dive into engaging conversations with guests from all walks of the sports life. Let's Talk is proudly presented by attorney Frank Walker. Real talk, real experience, real results. FrankWalkerLaw.com, and by the all-new historic Quoyer Diner in downtown Charleston, online at QuoyerDiner.com. Let the conversation begin on Let's Talk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk, and I have my 2 co-hosts in the building, Lisa Otey and Hollis Lewis.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
And I don't know if I'm going to say this is fortunate or unfortunate, but we do have another person that's mic'd up and ready to go. This is like a guy that I have known for a long, long time, and I hate to do this, but I'm gonna have to give him some credit. This is the guy who would get up at 6 a.m, 5 a.m, and run with me all off season of football, and with for no reason other than to help me out. And he has become part of our family. We do Christmas, we do Thanksgiving. He does all of that. He's at our house, with my mom's house, and there's that expectation of him being there. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I really like him that much.
Oh, my goodness.
That just means that's how all this has happened. So I'd like to introduce everybody, Jay Jordan. And everybody, there's a whole lot of people who know him for a whole lot of reasons.
Good and bad, I guess.
But good, bad, and indifferent. But you have, you're doing some things sponsored by the water company, and doing some good things. Tell us a little bit. Tell the listeners about some of the things that you're doing.
Okay. Thank you, Carl and Lisa and Hollis. Appreciate you all letting me on for a little bit. I have a ride that I sponsor. It'll be 3 years now. This will be my 3rd year going in. And the first thing I did when I first wanted to do this was to give back to the community. And I wanted to find out a good way of how to do that, and what would be the best way that I could reach out to the community and who would need it the most. So I went and I approached a guy named Bradley Harris, which was over External Affairs in the water company, and told him my idea of what I wanted to do. He come up and got with me, did a tremendous job finding out agencies and all that, threw them out there at me and said, which one do you prefer? One that was kind of close and dear to me was YWCA. They do a lot of things for the kids. They got a new center down there on Elizabeth Street where kids could come in and they could do homework. They have computers there for kids that don't have computers at home and
That's
all
good.
that. And they also get women. They come in and they could get set up for interviewing and getting started into the work field. So they do that part of it. And I know when I was growing up, we used the agency. So my dream was, when I get an opportunity and a chance, let me go back and give back to the community. So I chose YWCA. They came over to water company and listened to my presentation. They jumped on it. So they come in, they sponsor. We have breakfasts and stuff like that in shirts. So what I do is a pre-registration type deal, which is like $25 for the rider, $10 if you if you have an extra rider with you, but it's $25 per rider. We'll ride to like State Park.
These are motorcycles.
Motorcycles, Sling-shots, anything with two wheels.
Yeah. Okay.
You come with a scooter, I'll let you get in. But mostly it's motorcycles, and like I said, I did have Sling-shots. We was in a parade down there. I do it on Juneteenth. I picked that day because I felt that wasn't nobody really getting a lot of attention on Juneteenth. So I wanted to go under that Juneteenth, and I called it, me and Bradley Harris got together, and we came up with a name for Freedom Ride. Which is the Juneteenth. So, first year we went out and, it turned out really well. Had people that, came and, supported me from the water company and other groups, Buffalo Soldiers. They were out, they do my safety part of it. They adamant riders. They go all over the place. So that makes me feel a lot comfortable with my ride. There are other people that don't ride as much, so that I got them there, and they do the safety part of the ride. So they're there for safety part, watch the traffic and all that. What I do is we went to Hawk's Nest, and we come back, and I do pictures, and I take pictures of the riders, and some of where we go to. This year we're going to Summersville, and we're going to do what they call the swings. I think this is something like a landmark type deal now in West Virginia, all over, where you go out and you have a big, nice a view of the background. And we're going to go up to Summersville and take a picture at that swing set. And then we're going to ride down. We'll do breakfast in the morning. We'll start at 9 o'clock. And that will be the registration, the pre-registration, 9 to 9:30, and then 9:30 to 10:30. We got people that supported, that sponsored me for breakfast, Chick-fil-A and all those people. So we have Chick-fil-A there sponsoring breakfast. We'll do that for 9:30 to 10:30. Then kickstands are up like 10:45. This year I added in cookout down at Shawnee for the riders. So after the ride, they could go down to Shawnee. It'd be under shelter 2. Probably see us out there. I have people down there, and we'll do that part, and I'll just have hamburgers, hot dogs for it, and some like Cokes and Pops and stuff like that for the riders. Just sit around, talk a little bit, how the ride went and all that good stuff.
Let me ask this question. If someone was interested in being a sponsor, who do they contact? What's the information in order for them to be able to be a part of it? If anybody who's a listener, they want to be part of it, who do they contact? I'm assuming it's you, but what's the contact information and where can they find it?
Okay, they could go under, they could get in touch with myself.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Host. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethost.com/terms.
Number, I could leave a card here to be 304-552-8171. Leave my work number. They can reach out to me, or I do have a flyer here, and they could go under that, and they could do all the donations and all that, signing up and all that if they like to. But any type of information they would like to have on this ride, they can reach out to me or Sarah Wade. I would have to, it's Sarah Wade at amwater.com. They can email her at that. And that way you could get information of how they do donations.
So they can get to the water company. They can contact the water company and get information and or direct information or access to you or...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I'll give them all the information.
So let me ask you this. So as far as if you want to make a donation or you want to ride, it costs, I think you said $25. Is that it?
Correct.
And what specifically does those funds go to?
Those funds will actually go right to YWCA. Nothing comes to me. Mm-hmm. Everything goes to YWCA, help funding those events I was talking about the kids on the computers and stuff like that. They have a library, and all that funding to go in there to help them keep up their center down there.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jay, how many riders are you expecting this year?
We have somewhere like 15 to 20 riders sometimes. My goal is the 50. I don't know if I ever see that.
Yeah.
But I like to do
Reach
50.
for the stars.
Right. And I like to get donations and funding for them as much as almost like 5,000. I haven't reached that, but I'm working on it.
Sure.
And with it, God's help and everyone that wants to participate, maybe get there before I retire.
Yes.
And is there a limit? Is there a limit on the number of riders? So if you have like a club who wants to come in, who already has like a motorcycle club, they just want to come in and register and ride along. Yeah. So there's no limit or anything like that?
No limit at all. No, I have any limit. Everything's wide open.
Because I see those big, like this is becoming really popular. At least maybe I'm just being cognizant of it. Like I'll see these big like Memorial Day riders, and you'll have these like it'll be like a half a mile long of riders riding through for different causes and different things like that. Mm-hmm. So I think you can probably get past 50. We just got to get the word out.
That's right.
Yes,
that's right. And everything helps, and I appreciate you all for giving me the time to actually come on here and get the word out. I think that's what some of the things happens here. We don't get the word out to people.
Sure.
We have a lot of good events and for good causes, but some people don't hear about it.
Yeah, sure. We know what the weather's been like lately, Jay. So do you have like a rain date in case the weather's not great?
I do have a rain date. So far, we've been blessed for good weather every year. I had it. The sun started shining. We had a good time for pictures and all that. The first year we had that parade, Juneteenth parade, which they do it on the weekday. I wish they would put it back on a Saturday. First year, I think we did on a Saturday, maybe a Monday. But what happened was the kids, we had a chance for the kids to get out there, and they love to see them Sling-shots. Yeah. And one guy got like 40 speakers on the Sling-shot.
Oh, my goodness.
You hear him coming, but it sounds good. And he's in almost every ride or something like that. They asked him, And then I got another one. So, that ride. So I take Sling-shots, anything,
Sure.
Just to have a good time.
What about mopeds? Can we do mopeds?
If you come with a moped, brother, I'll accept you with a moped.
The electric bikes, the electric scooters.
Hey Jay, what I want you to do is contact Donna, and Legends Building Legends will make a donation to you as well.
Okay.
All right. So just contact her, and she'll give you maybe $2 or so or something.
Don't spend it all on one place.
Make sure you put that in the right place.
When he asked me
Keep
for
it
a
safe.
donation, it starts at $50.
Yeah, right.
I can't go under $50.
All right, you got anything else to say? Anything else?
No, I appreciate the time. You all, thanks a lot. You have a great show here.
Give the contact information one more time.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the contact information. You can reach out to me at learl.jordan@am.amwater.com and also sarah.wade@amwater.com. And my phone number is 304-552-8171.
And they can find you on social media as well, right? If they look you up.
Yes.
Just Jay Jordan?
Yes, the Jay Jordan on Facebook.
Just send a message and they could probably find you that way.
And
Great.
also on my Facebook, I have the flyer out where they can hit the QR code.
All right, I'm going to share the flyer now.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
And they could go right into that QR code and it'll take you right there to the event and you can sign up and do whatever you need to do.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Hollis Lewis is going to take us somewhere with the NCAA, I do believe.
All right. So there was a recent settlement. There's a recent judicial order, a settlement of a case. It's House v. NCAA, and that's House that actually stands for person, not like House of Delegates or House of Representative. And basically what it is two parts. So there was a 2-point-something billion settlement, which is going to go to compensating athletes. We'll talk about that last. But basically, the big part of it is that it's going to allow schools to pay athletes. And that's all athletes, not just football and basketball players. So basically what it is that each school would have about a $20 million salary cap budget, which they could use to allocate to pay athletes in their athletic department. In addition, so the third thing it does, it sets up an NCAA commission. It's going to be headed by a former MLB executive, and basically they will be responsible for, navigating any infractions, trying to set rules and different things of that nature. So, I think, this is going to be a good thing. I think, number one, it is the revenue sharing model that we've discussed previously that I'm an advocate for. And I think, not immediately, but what it will do in my mind going down the road is it's going to sort of curb the wild, wild west that NIL was, right? Because the bulk of the money, I ain't gonna say the bulk of the money, but the money is going to be coming directly from the schools. So the schools would be able to set the standards, set the salary cap, say, hey, you're going to get paid this, make you sign a contract possibly that you got to be here for X amount of years and different things of that nature. Now, what's going to be sort of difficult to navigate is that within that commission's power, not only are they going to have enforcement power, so if you got, some issues, you're violating some rules, they would be the enforcement mechanisms. But it's going to be a little thing which I believe is going to really have to be worked out in that.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
Now they'll be able to evaluate those outside NIL deals because the athletes, while they're getting paid directly from the school, they can still get like the sponsorships and different things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So what this commission will be tasked to do in part will be to say, hey, is what you're doing okay? Is this sponsorship good? Are you getting paid too much? Getting paid too little? Different things of that nature. So I think that's where it's going to be a little fickle at. So that's kind of it in a nutshell without going into too much legalese.
Okay, my first, like, I like it, okay? Mm-hmm. But the NIL piece is my issue. Because let's say the three of us, we're on the same team, we're all getting $20, okay? Mm-hmm. Because we're top players and we're getting $20. My question then I turn out and I get an NIL deal from not necessarily, quote, a sponsor, but let's just say, somebody who's got a ton of money who is going to give me, $1,000 for every game. I I still see the separation, and I see all that for the NIL player. This is just extra money being paid through the system.
Well, I think, and I think that's definitely a concern. But I'm, and this is just me. Like, this is just my conjecture. This is just me, forecasting. What I think is going to happen is that, number one, this commission is going to set guidelines and rules that state that, hey,
okay,
you're not going to be able to go to this NIL collective and just get a check. You're actually going to have to do something in regards of like some sort of sponsorship. Okay. There's going to have to be some sort of fair exchange. So you're like, if you're going to go to, Gatorade, and they're gonna, you're gonna be in commercials, then that's your sponsorship. That's and if you're gonna deal with this NIL, this person giving you this money, there is something that you're gonna have to do, whether that's posting them on your social media. You're not just, I don't think, and again, let me just say this before I go on. The current NIL deals in place, this ruling is not retroactive, so it won't affect any ones that's current NILs that's already been signed and happened. But what I think moving forward is that, number one, the money's going to go from the school. And I think, come from the school. The school is maybe able to pull more from the NIL collective under some, if they need it or whatever. And then far as sponsorships is concerned, you're actually going to have to be a sponsorship. You're going to actually be a marketing tool for whoever's giving you that extra money. That's just my conjecture.
Yeah, and I think, too, and you're probably right, Hollis, but I think this is a way to control, like, the Cooper flags of the college athletic world, because, this guy's making millions of dollars at Duke on these, supersized NIL deals outside of what he's doing at Duke with the school.
Right.
So I think that this clearinghouse is what they're calling it, something like that. Basically what they're going to do, from what I've read, is review these agreements and make sure they're fair market value, that they're not being overpaid for what they're doing. I think the question for me is, and I think this will come out later on after this is implemented, how much power is this clearinghouse going to have? Yeah. And the second question is it legal?
And that's my part, because you can't necessarily determine fair market value, because your market value is what somebody's willing to pay, right? So if somebody's willing to give me 1,000 and give you 100, that's my fair market value.
Right.
I think from what I understand, what they're going to determine is the range. So they're not necessarily determining what you're worth on the fair market value. They're going to be tasked to determine like how much, like what's the range that we can allow you to get paid, which to me, that's where you're going to see massive lawsuits. Because if you tell me
what's going to happen,
but I think if they just leave it like that, then yes. But what I think is going to happen, and if they're smart, what they're going to say is that, hey, you could get paid that $1.5 million or that $2 million, but what are you doing for that? You actually have to. We can't allow you just to accept money and then you just not doing anything like what's been happening in the past, other than just paying, because you're already getting paid from the school. So I think they're going to determine the parameters in which what is allowable as far as marketing is concerned. I think it's a step in the
right direction.
I think it totally is.
I think it is, but it's also, I think there's going to be a lot of legal concerns in the future with athletes challenging it.
For sure.
Well, see, and here's the thing that and please correct me if I'm wrong when I say this, because this is what's running around in my head. So the NIL money, I'm assuming that, okay, so I'm going to get $1,000 for whatever amount of time. But that's not coming from NIL. That's coming
from the school.
From the school.
Yeah. Out of the $20 million.
Out of the $20 million. Yeah. And so I kind of want to keep my NIL deal, and they want to give me $20 million.
And that's when the clearinghouse comes into play, right?
Then that's when they would come into play. Yeah.
And because then again, you could get 15 million, and then who's judging of what's the fair market value? Like
they're not judging fair market value. They playing a little, language jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. They're not saying fair market value. They're saying range of payment. They're doing like a range. So in essence, they're sort of trying to judge fair market value without saying it, because you cannot judge fair market value.
Well, and here's what I think is the problem with what they're attempting to do. Because let's go to the NFL. Okay, so let's say you playing on the right corner, I'm playing left corner. I go in, I go in. We're pretty close to the same ability and all that kind of stuff, right? Same kind of honors and all that. I go in, I sign a contract for $100. You come in and then you sign for $300. Now I got a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm now, or let's say the negotiation we hadn't actually signed. They're promising me $100. They're going to promise you $300. And I'm thinking, well, no, I'm not taking that $100. I need $4 because I think I'm better than him. Like, are we not opening that window?
I think you are, but I think, again, if
the window was already open,
it was kind of already, yeah, you're right. But I think if the schools are smart and if the conferences are smart, they'll sort of set their own guidelines. So they'll say, this is it's just like in the NFL, right? To use that example, in the NFL, you got like a number you can pretty much essentially pay per player on the roster. And you have the rookie salary cap, right?
Yeah.
And then after that rookie salary cap, then you can renegotiate. And that's kind of when the contracts can get absorbed or whatever like that. So I think if the conferences, if the school is smart, they're going to say, hey, this is the freshman to sophomore, junior, whatever cap. And then after that, you're probably going to have incentives. And then once that contract is up, you're going to be able to negotiate. Because what I think is going to happen, I mean, because I think this could really quell the noise that the transfer portal has created. Because, again, if I'm paying you directly from the school, oh, yeah, you signing this 2-year deal, right?
Which could exclude outside agencies. Yeah. If it's part of the contract, they could exclude outside agencies from coming in and paying them even more.
And that's the point. And that's the perfect point.
That's the whole reason of it.
Because now the schools are going to have way more control if the first dollar is coming from the school. Because from what I understand is just some of the things I've been hearing, the NIL collectives, quote unquote, now are going to turn into marketing agencies. So these NIL collectives, instead of just paying players arbitrarily, they're actually going to be able to transform into finding sponsorships and deals for players. So, we can find this lineman, this thing to sponsor, this quarterback, this thing to sponsor. And they're actually going to be sort of ushering in the deals as opposed to just giving out the money. So I think, again, this is the beginning of it. And let me say this. This should have happened 25 years ago.
We've said that all along.
Jeez, it's just, I mean, whoever, the NCAA has just been the worst organization ever. And it took all this for this to happen. And now the challenge is going to be the major challenges because, to your point, you've had the wild, wild west for the last 2-3 years. Yeah. And now that money's going to be shrinking. The money that they was getting, it ain't going to be there no more. Right. And I think the perfect example is just like what rookie contracts in the NFL were 20 years ago when they was paying the first round draft pick hundreds of millions of dollars. And then they figured out you had all these guys who didn't make it 2 or 3 years in the league. Then say, we ain't doing that no more. Right. We got to scale this thing back.
Right.
So I think that's the example of what's about to happen here.
Well, and can I play devil's advocate for a minute here? So we're saying there's a salary cap now, basically of $20.5 million, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to do, in my opinion, it's going to be good for some schools. It's going to be not so good for others. And then for some, it's not going to matter anyway. Okay. So for example, your Alabamas, your Ohio States, your Notre Dames, they've been playing with way more money than $20.5 million. I mean, let's for a long time. Yeah. So for them, that's going to kind of be a step, a downgrade, right? For your WVUs, for your mid-tier teams that are playing with that sort of money right now, that's pretty much where they are in the 20-ish million kind of. For them, it's going to kind of level the playing field, right? Because now they can kind of like rein in the NIL deals. You sign a contract with us, all of that. Let's just face it, the teams like Marshall in the Sun Belt, it doesn't matter because they don't have that kind of money to play with anyway, and it never did. So for me, it's kind of bringing down, and I just wonder what their thoughts are on that. Those high level teams that are year in, year out in the national championship, the Georgias, all of those SEC teams that, have lots of money to play with. Wonder what that does for them.
Okay. And to that point, just to counter it, what I would say is that this is going to be great for college sports, because what I think is happening is that
I think it's good too.
And if all the schools, all the coaches, all the commissioners, all the ADs, what I think they all can agree on is that NIL NIL and transfer portal has not been good for college sports.
No.
Right?
I agree.
It's been horrible.
I'm curious where you're going with this. But you're right.
And I think they agree. So now I think if they can all just get past their egos, and say, look, everybody working with the same pot, at least the upfront pot.
Right.
At the upfront pot. I like that.
At the upfront pot, at the Power 5 level.
Yes.
Then it's going to come back to recruiting.
Exactly.
Then it's going to come back to your coaching,
what you can offer other than money.
Systems, and then it's going to come back to degree. Now, to your point where I agree is that I think the most challenging part of this is that if you have a school like South Carolina, Gamecocks, because you have the stars of that campus is the women's college basketball team.
Yes.
And then you have men's basketball, and then you got to pay Big Daddy, which is football. How you going to split that pot up? Those schools are going to be the ones who are going to be like, ugh. Because Ohio State is just football. Let's face it.
Yeah, you're right.
You can get a whole 20 that's football, and they can work out the rest.
Right. But when you've got good teams other than football.
But you got good teams other than football.
Football and basketball. If you do even that, men's basketball.
But that's even a little easier. But when women's basketball,
but
women's softball.
Before we jump there. Before we jump there,
we're breaking our own rules.
Yeah, we're breaking rules already.
It's a good thing.
We're trying to do a 15-minute segment.
Well, let's take a break and then come back.
We're going to take a break. We'll take a break and we'll cheat again. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, cats and kittens, have you heard? The Quarrier Diner is back. Step into the classic vibe of one of Charleston's most historic restaurants. Don't miss the daily Blue Plate specials. Breakfast served all day, every day, and free parking. With an outdoor patio covered for the summer, an elegant basement bar, and customizable event space, 1022 Quarrier Street offers an experience unlike any other. Open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit QuarrierDiner.com for all the need to know and relive the good times at the Quarrier Diner.
Let's face it, bad things happen to good people. Seriously injured in a car accident, trucking accident, or even wrongfully arrested. Life happens, and when it happens to you, you will need sound legal advice and aggressive representation. That's when you call attorney Frank Walker at 304-413-0179. That's 304-413-0179. Lock it in your phone, text it to a friend. 304-413-0179. Or visit online at attorneyfrankwalker.com.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker and the all-new historic Quarrier Diner. Come in on episodes, ask the crew questions, or suggest topics on our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation. Subscribe by searching Let's Talk with Carl Lee on your favorite podcast service and tune in Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday nights at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee. This is Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Now back to the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And I'm gonna hang in here on this conversation just because I'm trying to figure out. We're talking about all this money, and we're talking about Ohio State. We're talking about all these kind of teams. We even came down to WVU in that conference, and then we kind of skipped through the Marshall kind of thing. Because my question is, if you're going to set a structure, where does that structure fall when you go to the Marshall level or when you go to the West Virginia State levels? Are you leaving them out to the point of they're going to have to find their own donors?
Yes.
Still?
Yes.
The answer is
pretty
yes.
much.
And see,
that's why I said that.
And that was my concern because I'm thinking that I don't really think that that's fair.
Because I think the $20 million is, you correct me if I'm wrong, we're talking about Power Fives. We're not we're talking about the Power Fives.
I think it's all up to the top. But why can't we create a situation that's okay, I'll just use these numbers. It's 20 at the top tier and 5 at the bottom tier. But it's all the same, that everybody's getting something.
I actually like that. I mean,
I think
I don't think that's
when you think about a salary cap, I mean, it's basically your money's still coming from your donors, right?
No, this is revenue sharing.
This is
coming from the NCAA, the conferences, and so this is a revenue sharing model.
Yeah, but that's just for the, like you said, the top teams.
Yeah, because I mean, essentially, like if you have a Mount State Conference, West Virginia State, UC teams like that, they're not generating that kind of money,
right?
Which most,
so they're left out.
Yeah, which most, even at like a Power 5, even if you take an Alabama, most of those sports don't generate any revenue. It's football and basketball that's generating revenue.
Well, let me ask you this: where? Okay, so part of the deal was the $2.7 billion settlement for former players
going back to 2016,
that have not been able to
didn't get any
benefit from NIL. Okay, so. It's anybody before 2016, correct? Would that be you and Carl as well?
No. It's
2016 to
and
2.
Up.
Okay.
So it's 2016 to whenever they did the NIL, which is probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
That's what I was. It was at 2021 or 2021.
Whatever.
I think
something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're talking about.
So they did limit it.
Yeah. So
and where's the money coming from? That's revenue sharing as well. The $2.7 billion.
I want to say that's from that's in NCAA.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's
wow. That's a check.
So
that's
$2.8 billion. So they're going to compensate, like you think about the Baker Mayfields and the Zion Williams and the Kyler Murrays, those guys.
Yeah.
Who could have
and the question
that's
I
a
had
lot
with
of money.
But some of these guys don't need it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They don't really need it. I mean, I don't know what the point would be. Is I get the reach back, but you need to reach back to the players who maybe didn't get the opportunity to go to the next level.
But it's not about that. It's the players who performed in college who would have gotten that check. So I think the House deal, like I said, the lawsuit is limited.
So you're the quarterback, I'm the center. So you got the attention, but hey, I gave you the ball.
I mean, he would have got something too. But I think what they're trying to do is they're going to go back, analyze your market value during that time, teams you played on, success, accolades, blah blah blah.
That's going to be who's going to do that?
Yeah,
they got a whole squad that's doing it now. It's going to be incredibly difficult. I don't know the methodology.
Everything about that.
That's a lawsuit as well. Can you imagine those former players coming and saying, "Why did I get this amount? You got that amount." There's going to be more lawsuits coming out with that.
I think it depends on your situations. Like if you broke, busted, and disgusted right now, somebody hand you a $20,000 check, I don't think you arguing about it.
But
at the same time, if you're Baker Mayfield, somebody hand you a $500,000 check, it's okay.
Yeah, but I'll take the 20. At least I feel like I got something.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you ain't giving me nothing, I got a problem.
Yeah.
That could happen. That could happen.
Yeah. So all right. We're gonna move on, and in case anybody's wondering, there's a person in the studio with a Packer hat on. Okay.
I didn't notice it was Packers.
which is
I haven't got
really
to see you for a few weeks, Carl.
Really
you missed me.
That really offends me that she.
I'm gonna have a dress code now.
She puts that on. Yes, that's going to be barred for sure. Aaron Rodgers. All right, now let me just say this. This is what I see in this whole story.
I'm going to interrupt. Hollis, remember in our text conversation, what did he say about Aaron Rodgers? He needs to do what? He needs to go sit down. Is that not what he said?
Yes. I don't see him. I don't see him being the quarterback he used to be. I just don't see him being that guy. Can he get on a team and lead a team? Maybe. I just don't see him being as worthy as he thinks he is. And I think the league itself, Hollis is shaking heads.
Jeez.
Lisa's upset.
I'm not a bit upset. I'm not. And you'll see why.
I agree with you, but I don't think this is about Aaron Rodgers. What I think this says, this is about the Steelers organization, and this is their final straw with Coach Tomlin. And basically what the Steelers are saying is that we're giving you one more year. We're giving you the best quarterback that we can find that could possibly give you 1 year.
Okay, now I'm liking this.
That can give you 1 year. And what we need to see during this 1 year is that we need to get some progression in the playoffs. So we want you to get to the playoffs. We want you to at least maybe get to a conference championship. And then after that, we'll give you back the reins. Because there's no way in HE-double hockey sticks that you're going to tell me that this was Coach Tomlin's pick. There's no way.
I can see that. Now, I'm with you, too.
There's no way. Because he passed up, again, you got Shador, you got all the quarterbacks that he passed up. Basically, he passed up everybody. And again, this wasn't the strongest quarterback class. He could have traded. He could have got the kid from New York that went to Minnesota. Dang, what's his I can't think of his name right now. But the quarterback who was in New York, they could have made some moves other than this. But this was an organizational move.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say this. The details about his contract have come out in the past few days, right? And I'm going to just summarize it real quick. But honestly, the Steelers got quite the bargain. Overall. Did they? Overall. Listen, because they set it up so that Aaron Rodgers is really going to have a tough time earning over his $10 million fully guaranteed. Okay. Here were some of the things that they put in the contract. The first thing is he has to play at least 70% he has to take at least 70% of the offensive snaps throughout the season, which that means you cannot have any detrimental injuries, right? You can't have anything go wrong that relates to his physical ability and to play, right? So he's got to do that up front, okay? If he can get through that, if he can get 70% of the snaps, then they have set up 6 different things he has to do to make an additional $5.85 million. Now, the $10 million is pretty much, that's fully guaranteed, right? Okay. Which is not that much for Aaron Rodgers.
Not for quarterbacks.
Not for a quarterback, right? Yeah. Okay, so to
summarize.
But
a quarterback that age. I just want to put that out.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So here are the 6 things he has to do, and they're all related. They're sequential, actually. So first he has to make the playoffs. That's part of it. The second part is he has to win a divisional round, and then he also has to he has to make a divisional round playoff game, and then he has to win it. Okay, those are the first 3. Then he has to win the AFC. That's number 4. Number 5 is to take the Steelers to the Super Bowl, and then number 6, that would complete the whole shebang, would be for him to win the MVP award at the Super Bowl.
How much is that worth? So we said if he plays
each piece is worth. They had it broken down. I didn't write numbers down, Hollis. I apologize, but each piece is worth a part of the 5.85. So if he would do all 6 things and the 70%,
so the max he can make is 15.
Exactly.
So that's
that's not bad. That's actually
that's not bad. But that's going to be
the incentives in the contract.
Yes.
Okay.
So the 10 is guaranteed. Then you got $5 million in the $5 million in incentive.
Yep.
So again, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. This was an organizational move about Tomlin's. This is last year.
I think that's a great thought.
Yeah, Hollis, because I did not think that never crossed my mind. But now hearing you say it in the midst of it,
and even with that contract, because that's just saying to your point, Lisa, that is a great deal. For an organization, for a quarterback of that level, regardless of whatever age he is now.
Right.
And basically what that says is that if we ain't accomplishing this, then Aaron Rodgers, you're gone next year, and Tomlin's, you're gone.
It's a one-year
We're starting
deal.
fresh.
My question is,
everybody on a one-year deal right now.
So let me ask you this. If I'm Tomlinson and I'm looking at this, I should be able to see that my career is based off of his performance.
Well, I ain't gonna say career because he'll get another coaching job.
Yeah, but I'm saying
his career in Pittsburgh.
100% is tied to
100%.
But if he didn't want him, how are you going to tie me to somebody I didn't want?
Because the organization don't want you.
And we had that conversation early in the season. Remember that? How we feel like he never got them past, the playoffs. He got them to a certain point and then he would lose. And the fans, we had that whole conversation about teams that are happy just to make the playoffs and those that continually make the playoffs and they don't produce, they don't win, they don't make a Super Bowl. And they're at that point in Pittsburgh.
And that's my problem because for me, if I have a coach and you're leading me to the playoffs every single year, you're giving me a chance to win a Super Bowl. So as long as we continue to get to the playoffs, then I'm going to continue to let you to make the moves that you need to make. I don't understand this. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm not doing this. I'm not getting rid of Thomas because he's getting me there. Now we just got to work on, getting over the hump.
And I think there are, and we as an organization, as the Vikings, we made that. Our general manager made that same gamble with Herschel Walker. Like we were like we
no,
were
not this. This ain't the same. This ain't the Herschel Walker.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I get that, but the idea was he was the guy that you needed. He was going to be the guy that was going to take you. We could afford to lose all these different guys because he was so good that he could get us there. What you found out was he really wasn't that good, nor was he acceptable in the locker room. He just wasn't a guy that guy, he wasn't like, hey, Hollis, how you doing, man? What's going on? He wasn't really the team player. He was just himself. And I bring this up only because when you start trying to rely on a player, when you try to think that that's the guy, you make some really, really bad decisions. Because I don't care what anybody says. Football in itself, it's a legitimate full team thing.
And I think with an organization like the Steelers, they become so spoiled where they think that every year you're supposed to be like having this Super Bowl run. And I think what they don't realize, they're in the playoffs every single year. Not too many organizations can say that.
Yeah.
No organization can really say that. When you talk about the number of playoff runs that they done had over the years, whether you're first, second round, division, whatever, conference championship, Super Bowls.
Because your record, they throw your record out once you're in the playoffs. They don't care.
Right, and there's so many teams that are there for 1 year, then gone for 10 years, then up and down, up and down, up and down, where they've been the model of consistency. So I just moves like it's to your point where because basically sort of juxtaposition the Vikings where y'all gave up a bunch of players. The Steelers in this move could potentially giving up a Hall of Fame coach. And I just don't understand why you would do that.
I think a lot of the Steeler Nation would agree with you. They're not happy about this Aaron Rodgers move. Most of them.
It don't make sense to me.
I mean, and you can see why. I mean, things that we've talked about. I mean, a lot of them are skeptical of his locker room chemistry. We know what he's capable of doing there. The fact that it's a 1 year commitment, that the fans are like, we know this is temporary. He's older. Even if he gets us there this year, this is a temporary fix for a permanent problem. We need a quarterback.
And then you don't even have a backup. You didn't draft the backup.
Right.
That sort of can come in like a love for the Packers, right?
I was going to say that. That was going to be my next thing. Who is going to play? Because what you're saying is you're thinking, you're hoping, you're praying that he can play all season. Playoffs
70% at least.
You wrote that in the contract. You're betting on it.
Yeah, we're making you 70%. Go 70%. We're making you go 70%. But in all reality, you want him to play because he could play 70% and you still not even make the playoffs.
Sure,
for sure.
So that's not your goal. Your goal is trying to get to the bowl, right, and win it. That's my thought. Yeah. You're trying to get there. Do you think he's your guy that's going to get you there?
Apparently, they do. Because they wrote it in the contract. Apparently they do. And it's just like, to me, if you take and it's kind of funny that I would say that, but if you take the Packers and the Steelers, the Packers have done a great job of cultivating quarterbacks. You got to go back from Brett Favre to the 80s to now. They've always had a consistently solid quarterback.
Yeah.
I know.
I didn't think about
Carl
that.
I hate to hear this.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. But he's right.
And if you take the Steelers, they've always had a consistent good team. So it's, to me, why wouldn't the Steelers take that same approach? You draft a young guy. At least if you're going to bring Aaron Rodgers in for a deal,
you got to
get a young guy.
You got to draft somebody. But that was the conversation we had. Aaron watched the draft before he made a commitment to Pittsburgh because he wanted.
You think he did that for real, or you think that's a speculation?
No. That was part of what I read. No, he said he waited until the draft was over. No, he didn't. I don't know that for sure, but I mean that's what social media said.
Got you.
Yeah,
because think about it. If you bring in a quarterback, he wanted to start. You're going to pay him, and he's expecting to play.
But you ain't starting over Aaron Rodgers if you wanted it. Not in this draft.
But Aaron was afraid.
Yeah,
Aaron was afraid.
Then you're not drafting me.
But I would take Aaron Rodgers probably over any of these guys at least for a year. I'm
going to tell you, if I'm a college quarterback and I'm coming out this year, and you're considering Aaron Rodgers, my thing is, okay, it's either me or Aaron.
You don't got that leverage.
No,
not as a rookie no more.
Not out of the round.
Not as a rookie no more. Not in the 5th round and you're Shedeur Sanders. You ain't got no leverage.
Not if you're in the 5th round.
I don't even think this year, the first round, like you said, it was a weak quarterback
class. To your point, Lisa, none of those guys had that leverage.
So, you got something? I was still in the mood of fighting this issue with Aaron Rodgers, but we're gonna move on. At least I'm gonna allow you, if you want to say anything else about the Packers, since that's your team, and I know he's going to Pittsburgh, which I think is. No, that's not. Okay, it's not your team. Okay, Jay Jordan is a diehard Pittsburgh fan.
Yes,
so. But Lisa, if you want to close out, if you got anything.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I just wanted to say one of my best friends, actually the girl I was on vacation with last week, she is a diehard Steelers fan. And so she was kind of lukewarm. She was just like, hope for the best and expect the worst. You know what I mean? That was her attitude. And we're actually going to the game. She and I are going to that Sunday night football game in Pittsburgh. So that ought to be interesting. I'll maybe go live or something. We'll do something fun with it. But
I just don't, like I said, I just don't see
Jordan Love against
that success. I just don't see.
They coming.
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
They gonna make a run.
Uh-oh.
All right. So we're gonna change topics. Thank you. Track athletes, high school track athletes. Celebrating now.
You gotta set up. What does she do? California track running 400. What does she do?
You give it
gotta track I think it's the independent. California has these weird high school conference, whatever.
Yes,
but she's a track athlete. She's a 400 runner. This is the state meet, state final. She runs the 400. She wins the 400. In her celebration, she takes a fire hose and fire hoses her shoes, simulating that she was super hot and everything like that. And their track high school commission, whatever, they strip her of the title. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Okay, so if I win the 100-yard dash, and there's some really good people in the 100-yard dash, 100 meters, I guess I should probably say it that way. I want to be able to have, I want to be able to celebrate. I don't know where and why you can, what you can maybe warn me, you could maybe, I don't know, do something, but you can't take me from winning. I won. You know what I'm saying? I won. And you're going to, because I'm celebrating and you don't like that celebration, or you're trying to make a point to nobody's going to celebrate in our sport.
Not to that degree, I think.
What was the warning of that degree?
But it's like if you take a prop, again, I think that the high school commission was right in being punitive in this. Because what happens is that if we allow you to do this, it wasn't like you just jumping around, take a victory lap, you celebrate with your teammates. That's one thing. But you had a coordinated prop, and if that's the start, then where does it end? It's going to be all these celebrations, going to be all this. So we have to take a stand. Now, to your point, they can't strip you of a track title when you won the title. It ain't like you was on PEDs or something like that.
Yeah, you can't give it. I can't give it to you.
Title. You won it. If I'm second place, I don't want it because I didn't win it. Give me my silver.
You didn't win it.
Give me my silver. So what I think they should have done, she's an underclassman. We're going to punish you from doing that, and then we're going to make you sit out next year. Oh, you sitting out them first 3 meets. We're going to do something next year to punish you for the thing you did this year. Now, again, where it gets complicated, if you have a senior. So maybe it's a fine. Maybe I don't know what it is, but they had to do something. Now, whether that punishment was right or not, but they had to do it.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm okay. No, I'm not. I'm not really. I don't really. I'm looking at what we do in all other sports,
but we don't do that in football. You can't take no foreign object.
No, but you can celebrate.
Well,
We're also talking about a fire extinguisher that has dangerous chemicals that put out flames that you're spraying out on the field around other participants.
What you're getting, but the point that you're making though is like I'm on fire. My feet are on fire.
I get that, but it's still a safety hazard. Like it's not. You just don't do that. Now I do know that was a reference to another track star.
Yeah,
correct?
somebody did that.
Maurice
before.
Green, I think is his name, and so that's what she was mimicking something that he did during his celebrations after winning, these different sprints. But still, you're in high school, and Dad was her coach, or is
he was? I'm not
Dad
sure.
Dad brought her the fire extinguisher, from what I understand. And so Dad was an accomplice, and according to what Dad said, at first everybody was cool with it, like, "Oh, yay, woo, it's cool," even the officials. But then they backed up and took a look and said, "You know what? We probably shouldn't be cool with that."
And they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be. But I will put this in there, Hollis. And this was a reporter in California. I looked up the article because when I saw this in the text, I thought, a celebration, and I thought, what could this be? And then when I got into it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So good job. Kudos to Hollis for bringing this on. That it was what they revealed after 20 years of state championship research. No other instance of disqualification was ever given to any type of athlete for unsportsmanlike conduct, which was what she was. So therein lies the problem.
100%.
She should, like you said, she should be punished in some fashion, but not in that fashion. Yeah. She should not be, they should not take away what she won.
And I hate when leagues do this. I hate when like NCAA, Reggie Bush did whatever, he took money. We're going to take wins away. Like, what are you talking about? Right. We're going to take your Heisman away. Stop it. You can't take something away that person earned. Because you know what I'm saying? It's another way to do this.
And who takes outside of that? Who wants to take that Heisman when you know you didn't win it?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You already know.
Like, I'm not, if I'm this athlete, if I'm like the second place, I'm not taking the gold. I don't want it. I didn't win. I was the runner up that year, and that's what it was. And the fact of the matter is that, kind of going back to Dad, what are you thinking? Why are you doing this?
There you go.
Like I said, even football, now I can say it, and I want to correct myself. Football, we do have little props now. Like, so when you go get an interception, you'll get like the championship belt. Mm-hmm. We'll get the gold chain and all that. But we do that on the sideline. Number one, so that's all into the sideline.
And they do not emit dangerous chemicals.
Not on the field. So he could have brought her a crown. He could have brought her like a little championship belt. It's a whole range of things he could have done other than that. What I'm saying is that that's taking it too far, because now it's all planned out. You're not, you're thinking about the race obviously because she won, but you're also thinking about all this other stuff. So it's like the kid who gets third and fourth place, they probably are now thinking about their celebration too, and you third and fourth place. Like, think about your race.
Yeah, because you're just happy that you got third.
You have, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I again, they were correct in punishment. But I think through lawsuit, that's probably going to be rectified. She'll probably get that crown back. But they have to do something.
But there should be some type of a ramification for what 100%. She did.
But shouldn't they have prepared themselves for some potential thing so that they didn't do this? Because if now they have whoever the governing body, the governing body,
CIF, I think in California,
like California Independent Federation.
Yeah, it's like our WVSS,
yes.
WVSS.
And see, we don't we're not dealing with that. We don't have a structure to say, well, if you celebrate that way, we're gonna punish you this way.
I can anticipate that.
I know.
I think there's a difference between a crown or a belt and a fire extinguisher. That's like comparing apples and oranges. I'm sorry. That's not good common sense.
I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I really am. But what I don't get, one, Dad knew.
That's what I don't like.
Dad
why
knew.
Would you do that?
And I think Dad knew, and Dad was proud of his daughter, and he wanted to put a show on. He wanted her to put a show on.
But we don't do that. You already put a show, and you won a 400 in California.
Yes, you did. That is the show.
A 400 meter race in California. You put on the show already. Show over.
What's Dad thinking?
I think Dad thinking, probably daughter asked him, he just appeased, or he's trying to get extra. He's thinking about the extra attention that it could generate. Dad is thinking about attention, but maybe Dad is thinking about going viral. You know what I'm saying? Online.
That's true.
So he could have been thinking of all those thoughts, not even considering any punishment that could be handed down.
Because my thing is, have we had somebody? And let's just high school. I was going to say, at least in high school, we've never had anybody. I don't know if anybody ever been disqualified for celebrating.
I'm sure they have.
Maybe, but
yeah. I mean, even here in our state track, we had we won't go into it, but we had a little controversy in our state track meet. You know what I'm saying? With some paraphernalia that was being worn. But I just think. I don't know. To me, this was just way too far, and Dad needs to take some accountability. Even his comments that he made in the interviews, he just lacked accountability. He lacked perspective. He should have just, and I think he was sort of PO'd because of the stripping of the title.
But whose fault would that be?
That's probably Dad's fault.
Dad went and bought the fire extinguisher from Lowe's or wherever.
Or from under a sink.
Yeah.
He took the fire extinguisher from home. You know what I'm saying? I need to check my fire extinguisher.
And for me, I don't buy. I just don't. I'm not okay. You won.
Yeah.
And your celebration is a whole nother thing. Whether it's a fine on the coach, which is probably the dad, or something, but not the kid. The kid doesn't understand because she probably did what she was told.
Nah.
She's probably saw those videos of Marie's screen. There was.
Now, bro, I don't buy that. No. Okay. That she understood exactly what she was doing.
I think she did. But what I'm saying is, I'm thinking Dad's propping this up.
Nah, I think she was propping it up, and then Dad was just complicit. Now, not
he was
to say,
accomplice.
Yeah, I'm not to say they take responsibility. Ultimately, it's the adult's responsibility to say,
we shouldn't do that.
Yeah, but I think, Dad, let's do this. All right. I think he was just like that. I don't think it was his idea to do that.
I don't even know how. Like, I don't even know what I would even say if
I know what I'd say.
I'd be like,
I got daughters who run track.
You want to do this? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be able to, I couldn't comprehend that. I'm like, so I don't even really know.
Maybe that's why he did it. He didn't comprehend it. He just didn't know what she was going to do with it. Maybe she said, I'm just going to walk around with it in her hands. Who knows?
And the thing is, you could have did that. After the track meet, timeliness is always pertinent, right?
Yeah.
But you could have did that and could have got that off. It's just, I don't know. It's big enough.
Yeah, I'm in and out on that one. I kind of liked it, but
I'm surprised.
I kind of liked it, but I guess it is what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be out of here today, and we will be back with you again next week.
Let's Talk with Carl Lee is presented by attorney Frank Walker and the all-new historic Coyer Diner. Come in on episodes, ask the crew questions, or suggest topics on our Facebook page. Search for Let's Talk with Carl Lee, and remember to like the page to become part of the conversation. Subscribe by searching Let's Talk with Carl Lee on your favorite podcast service, and tune in Thursday evenings at 7 or Sunday nights at 8 for Let's Talk with Carl Lee.
If you fall, dust it off and get back up on your feet. Anything could be a win, yup, even defeat. They say sugar bad for you, why is victory sweet? Couldn't play with big kids, I had to sit in the street and watch from a distance, but over time I grew. If I put in the work, in no time I'm due. Everything that I worked and prayed, I'm okay. If you ask me, how did I do it, I'm gon' say, you gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine, never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work. 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 You gotta work.